Hi guys. In today's post, I'm going to teach you how to deal with something that comes up on a regular basis. And because it comes up on a regular basis, it's one of those things that it's a continual pattern that a lot of folks get stuck in a loop. And I want to help people get out of. So just to get into it quickly, if you have ever been in a situation where you encounter people that are predominantly negative, constantly complaining, and you may feel that you're a positive person, so you don't feel anything like these people, and so you almost may not even want to be around them. Well, as a non-duality teacher, my job primarily is to teach folks how to recognize yourself in the mirror. In other words, to behave like love would. What would love do in this moment? And so a lot of times when it's situations like this, such as negative complainers, when you're tempted to go, that is so not me, ew, or you want to back away from them. And a lot of times you find that distance helps if you stay away. But then have you not noticed that eventually someone else comes into the picture that's like this and someone else comes into the picture that's like this? That's because it is true. What you resist persists. And this is one of those situations where this is just going to continue to persist because you're resisting recognizing yourself. And in that moment, what you're doing is judging, and judgment causes separation. And by judging, I'm saying that in that moment, you're saying, that's not me. I don't like this thing that I see before me. But in a world where everyone is you pushed out, it is very important to recognize every aspect of yourself, including the aspects of yourself that you're tempted to go, that's not me. That's the most important part. So in situations like this, what do you do instead? And the answer is very simple. What you do is you appreciate the messenger. You recognize yourself. You take this on as part of yourself. That's what love is. Love doesn't try to change things. Love recognizes itself in the mirror. So rather than resisting this image, this person before you, rather than trying to change what is happening in the present moment, which is keeping you from moving to the next level, because in that resistance, in not being present, you're not able to quantum leap, because you're resisting what is before you. So rather than doing those things, instead, you look at this thing and you say, thank you for showing me this aspect of myself. Because believe it or not, no matter how positive you are, there is some aspect of our brain that is trained to look for what's wrong, look for the negative, and get fixated on this. So if you don't appreciate the messenger before you who is trying to show you that this is an aspect of self that you are rejecting, then in essence, you're one, not being present, so that prevents you from quantum leaping out of the reality. Two, you're not recognizing the self, so you're being hatred instead of love. Love recognizes, hatred divides. Right? And three, because you're resisting it, even if you were to put distance between yourself and this person, what you're doing is just creating another scenario where your subconscious just records this behavior. And since you messed up by not self-recognizing, by not acknowledging that this is a part of yourself, it's going to repeat. So if you want to take the ammunition out of your ego's gun, the job is to say thank you for showing me this aspect of myself. The job is to say, I recognize this myself. This is the non-dual action. This is the loving action. This is the answer to what would love do in this moment. Love recognizes itself, not rejects. Love accepts as we are. So I know we're tempted to say, no, that's not me. But if you did this instead, you are doing a few things. One, you're not resisting the present moment. Two, you're accepting someone as they are and not trying to change them and sending them approval instead of adding to the negativity. Three, you're using the power of love, the power of God, the power of unity, not division, not judgment, to accept this piece of you that has been fractured off from your perception. And 3, because you're able to stay present, you're able to quantum leap beyond where you're stuck. What happens when you don't do these things is you remain in the pattern. It continues to stay and stay and stay. And even if you put distance between yourself and this person, there's always going to be someone else. If you want to end this pattern, this is how you do it. So this is your non-duality teaching of the day. As you know, there are several mirrors, and this is one of them, the judgment mirror, the aspect of self that we like the least. And this is how you would deal with it in order to move on beyond this. If otherwise, you're going to get stuck in a reality where the pattern keeps repeating. And if you want out of this particular loop, this is how you handle it, by being love. A lot of us don't know what love is. A lot of us don't know how to recognize the self in the mirror. And a lot of us don't appreciate this very difficult thing. And that is recognizing this negative aspect of self. We're tempted to be hatred. We're tempted to divide, and we're tempted to judge. But that's not what love does. And if you want to receive a perfect love, you begin by being a perfect love. And this is one of those aspects. Now, you don't have to like what they're doing. You don't have to appreciate every single thing about them, but you can at least appreciate this aspect of self, recognize yourself in the mirror, and rather than resist the present moment, move on. This is how you get unstuck from these situations where they seem to repeat, these patterns that go on and on and on and seem to be just like this infinite game of just being stuck on the same loop. Well, this is how you get unstuck. You take the ammunition out of the ego's gun. So I will continue to make content on non-duality. I really hope that you're able to use this everybody is you pushed out method. I hope that many more of you learn to love every aspect of yourself. And this is what Source does. This is what God does. And when you start behaving like God, you start seeing like God. So if you're going to master non-duality, begin with this type of action. Thanks, guys.